Hey, folks. And go what? FFP and J, how y'all doing? I'm going to wait for a couple more people to get here before I get started. How's that with you guys? Hey, Juanita. Hey, what's up, Backwoods? No, I thought it'd be a funny picture. But unfortunately, every time I put one of the motivational posters up here for the chat, it doesn't show the whole thing. You probably know that's Gandalf holding the AK-47, right? Hey, what's up, FLP? No, it's a Rockstar Punched. Hey, Nina. Yeah, you probably see that that's Gandalf holding that AK-47. But the caption underneath it, hey, Marie, the caption underneath it reads, when you absolutely positively have to kill every orc in the room. Okay, we got a good amount of people in here. So, yeah, we're ready to go. Ready to rock and roll. But, yeah, I named this one. What am I reading right now? And I'm reading I have one book in here that I've already read, but another book, and a couple books I'm currently reading, and a magazine I just picked up, which is, we'll get to the magazines a little bit later, but the first book I'm going to do here is first one I'm reading right now is called Natural Pennsylvania. Back it up here. There it is. And what this is about the state forest, the different state forest natural areas in the state, and it's good and it's bad in a way because I like visiting a lot of these places. But most of these places are like from central Pennsylvania out east, and I kind of read that trying to see what I can glean out of it. Oh, come on, Jay. Actually, War and Peace, I actually did read that a long time ago. I don't remember any of it, but I read it like in high school. And the one book I have here that I'm going to be talking about here in a little bit, like I show you, it's approaching that level. But some of the information I can get from that Natural Pennsylvania book with the state forest is what's in a lot of these areas, and a lot of this stuff. A lot of these places, you kind of get an idea of what's there. And the way the guy writes this is he doesn't write it like this is what's here, this is what's defined. He actually, wherever he goes, he takes you with him. He describes as he's walking everything he sees and when he sees it. So it's not like one of those. This is here. This is the makeup. Blah 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 blah. He starts off like I got up and started going down the trail. I had seen these trees as I was walking through, going past the brook with the bird. These birds are calling back and forth. I seen this track, but he kind of takes you every step of the way through it. So, hey, prepping, and he makes you feel like you're there, which is kind of cool. But along with that, seeing what's there, you kind of get a feel of what what I can look for. Well, I get a feel of what I can look for out here because a lot of these places start like central Pennsylvania and work east. Like he didn't like go up in the Allegheny National Forest or any place. There's not too many state forests on this side of the state. They're all from like central PA on east. But some of these places I'm hoping to get to sometime. But I digress. It's a very interesting book to read, especially if you like the outdoors like I do. I mean, I do like the survival part of it. I do like the prepping part of it, but I do like some of the other aspects of it too. And how can well, we'll kind of get into a little bit of that here in a little bit, but these books can also help in that part, in your prepping and survival part of things as well. By showing you can kind of read what's out there if you already know what to look for. Another book that I have is going to be a lot closer to this area, but if you're looking for resources, that's a way to kind of narrow down your search instead of just going out in the woods and like there it is. Plus, the other thing with looking for resources is, and I know there's a couple people around here kind of goof up this way. Hey, Grumpy, is you should be, if you take a little bit, it's not going to matter. But a lot of people around here, when they go looking for natural resources, instead of taking it off their own property or taking it off their neighbor's property, and there can be a little bit of conflict there as well. So it kind of keeps you from running afoul of the law too much, especially if you know what you're looking for. Um, the other book to go with that is Great Natural Areas in Western Pennsylvania. I've been through this book about 1,010 times. I've probably been to Hey Farmal, but this book here, I've probably read it from cover to cover probably about 3 or 4 times. Been to many of the different places in it. This is Western Pennsylvania. I mean, this has places from Moraine, McConnell's Mills, um, a lot of places right around work that I've been to like right after work too. And one of my favorite areas in here, as soon as I find it, but it's called Shoulder Run Wetlands. And it is a Shoulder Run Wetlands is actually a very interesting place. Yeah, because it sits on the Mercer and Lawrence County line, and it doesn't take too long for me to get there, like maybe at the most an hour drive. But what it is, it's a state game lands. And the main trail going through from one side, from it's always started on the Mercer County side, but from the Mercer County side on down through the Lawrence County side to the other end of game lands, it's an old railroad bed. And I've walked the whole thing up and back. It's like a combined, like out and back's about 10 miles. Now, as I said, if you're walking down a railroad bed, it's not that bad because you only have, I think, in that area from one end to the other, it's only a 1% grade from one end, literally 5 miles. You only drop like 1% the whole way down. So that means for every 100 yards you go, you only drop 1 foot. So it's not bad walking at all. And there's a lot of hidden stuff in there as well. I think that's another reason why I like going in the outdoors. I like to see what I can find. And there's a lot of stuff that I found that's not in that book. How you doing? How you doing, Ox? Like the area that you're going through is what's wetlands now. Used to be a lot of it used to be strip mine, and there's like a lot of these little lakes all over the place, little ponds all over the place. Hey, Just there's lakes all over the place, but they filled up with water, So there's like a lot of, I mean, there's a ton of marshland in there, especially on the upper end. And then you get down the other end, you go through a good stretch where it's pretty solid, not too much marsh or anything. Till you get down to the other end, that was strip mine pretty heavy too. And then you get like not really marsh, it's just like little pocket lakes all over the place. But some stuff I've seen there I've never seen anywhere else. Um, I've seen a ton of wood duck in there. I mean, a ton. I mean, to see a wood duck in Pennsylvania is kind of, I wouldn't say rare because they're here. They're not a rare animal, but to actually see them is kind of a rare thing. I seen like 10 of them that day. Um, and even though they're stock birds, I've seen about 2 or 3 ringneck, a bunch of turkey, raccoon, and a couple, 2 or 3 fox running around in there. I mean, I'm going down through the wildlife going through there was just extraordinary, and that was during the springtime. Um, Actually, I'd like to get back up there either right before or right after Christmas. Hey, Timo, I'd like to get back up there, and I'll probably take the GoPro and my camera with me again and go through there in the wintertime just to see what I can find. As I said, it's easy walking. It's a cool place. And a lot of these places, I mean, over here in North and Southwest Pennsylvania, in this book here, the Western Pennsylvania book, there's a ton of places to be found, and they're not all. Hey, Mom Slayer, and there's a ton of places to be found, and not all of them are state park, county park. There's game lands in there. There's conservation district, Pennsylvania conservation district lands in there. All kinds of stuff. So I mean, it's a very as I said, it's very interesting, especially if you like to explore like I do. It kind of points you in the right direction. Okay, any questions so far? Oh, there you go, Jay. See, that's another thing. I know there's a book out. Jay brought up a good point there. A lot of the rail lines in Missouri that were abandoned by the railroads are turned into hiking trails. Don't have to worry about getting run over. There's a lot of railroads around here that were turned into rails and trails. There's a lot of them that have been turned into that, and I'd like to find a book on that that explains the different sections of it and the different public lands that are incorporated with it. I think that'd be interesting as well. So, and we have miles of them around here. Okay, any questions so far? Yeah, the Tone of Nowhere. You're talking about the Tone of Nowhere on the Montour Trail, Mum Slayer? Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. I have yet to make it to that. Um, I have a long term project. Talking about rails and trails, I kind of like a long term project I'm doing with my camera on. I call it railroad relics. And the thing of it is the couple criteria I have. It has to be inactive, a part of the railroad, but inactive, like abandoned. The second thing is if it's not abandoned, repurposed. And like a trail to nowhere on a Montel trail, I mean, a tunnel to nowhere on a Montel trail would fit that. But I have like old railroad bridges, I have a couple repurposed railroad buildings. I got two railroad stations that both been turned into. Yeah, and yes, that it does, backwoods. And I actually feel bad. I bet I passed up on two of them. Guys have already made anvils out of them, and I just didn't have the money at the time to pick them up. Exactly, Ox. That's another reason. That's another reason why I kind of look at them is if I have to get from point A to point B and road's not an option. And depending on where you're at with those rails to trails, I know down in I think it's Washington County, down by McDonald, PA. The trail down there is paved, but if you have to hit point A to point B real fast, and you can get to the road that gets to the trail was more than a car lane wide, so you can get on that. You can get on that thing and just start hauling booty. I mean, hey VP, what's up, bud? See, that's another consideration, especially if you're close to a town. Like the ones I've did are like way out in the middle of nowhere. So I never really thought about that. But backwoods law said something. Be careful using old rail lines and power line right of ways. Many dirtbags have this figured for easy pecking. So that's a consideration you have to take into consideration. Hey, Kaylin. But I'm going to go on to the next book. We're going to talk about this thing here for a little bit. But before we get on to it, does anybody here know who Horace Kephart is? Oh, no problem. But Horace Kephart is probably considered one of the originators of bushcraft. Um, this is actually a reprint of a couple of the books, two books that he did. See if I can get the date here. But these books have been around for a long time. I mean, a very long time. Okay, because these two books were originally published in 1916 and 1917. But this is Horace Kephart, camp back up there, camping and woodcraft. And actually, of all places, I got this book at REI. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Horace Kephart, you give him a tarp. You give the man a tarp, he can build you the Taj Mahal. But yeah, I got this book. I mean, this thing's literally about the size of War and Peace. And I got this book off of REI for $18. REI is kind of like the hipsters outdoor store. That's the best way I can describe it. Yes, it was. And you should have our. I'll say this much about REI. And it depends on when you read it, Jay. The ones. It all depends, Oxjaw. I used to think that too before I went into it. The REI that I went into, I found something for every price range. I went in. looking to get maybe one or two things, expecting to pay about $100 to $200 for it, and I got what I wanted, and I walked out the door with $30. So I'm not complaining. That's why I bought the book too. I got a new knife, a couple other things, and with the book at it was $45. So just I would say, and before you really judge REI, just go in and give him a look see. Yeah, the climbing gear isn't cheap, but I mean that there's some other stuff. There's a lot of other stuff in there that they try to cover everything. Nope, straight up box jaw. That's why I'm thinking about going back again here after Christmas sometime, just to shop and see what I got. Because like one of the things I think I'm going to upgrade is I may upgrade my one man tent. But was getting back to the book here. This guy covers about everything. I'm still in the first part of the book here, and he talks. See if I can find the index here for book one. But I mean, they talk about. I mean, he talks a little bit about everything: crafting tents, um, different knives, how to use those different knives. There we go. Goes to the contents here. How to outfit yourself, tents for fixed camps, tents for hiking. No, I don't, Keith. You haven't. What happened there, bud? Let me see what else. Bedding, clothing, personal kits, provisions, making camp, the campfire, pests, how to dress game, how to cook the game. I mean, and that's just book one, and I haven't even got into book two. Let me get back to the other. I'm actually getting back. I haven't made it to the second book in here. That's why this book looks like War and Peace. It is. I mean, it's just huge, and there's more information in here than you could literally shake a stick at. And trust me, I've shaken a lot of sticks. Oh, I can attest what Backwoods just said about the tents. The 6 man, we have a tent here. It's basically it's a canvas tent, but it's basically the size of two of those tents put together. We've literally slept 12 people in this tent and still have room to spare. It's almost like a small circus tent. The last couple of years, the last time that I went to a 4-H camp when I was a kid, that's a tent I used. If there's a party at horse camp that year, it was always in my tent because I could fit everybody from the camp in my tent. So let me see. Okay, it doesn't really. I can't really find anything. It talks a lot about axemanship, so I'm thinking in somewhere in somewhere in there talks about the different uses for different knife blades. I have to get to that part, but once I get to that part, I will let you know. I can attest to what Backwoods just said there. Backwoods is talking about tents, which is, but from spending a lot of time in tents, like in Boy Scout camp, canvas 2-man tents. This is do yourself a favor, and if you do that for an extended period, make sure you fashion up a floor from pallets or something. Makes life easier. It makes life a ton easier. It gets you up off the ground. You can level it out, so you always have a level place to go. But it's especially a floor and a canvas set like that. It is definitely recommended. Yeah, talking about tents, I have my 1-man tent there, and I have a tent. It's a dome tent with wings I have downstairs. I can probably sleep about 6 people. Um, Now the 1-man tent is what I use for when I hike, but my big dome tent, that'd be something that I use in a base camp situation. That the tent stays in one place. I kind of leave the tent and come back to it. Actually, that's not a bad idea, Caitlin. And that's ingenuity right there. I like that. Now, one thing I'd like to do, talking about tents, is I seen a lot of different hot tent videos. It's a canvas tent, but it has like a metal panel in it where they put a wood burner in, like a wood burning stove inside the tent, like they used to like back in the 1800s. I mean, a small one. Plus, there's a standoff on to keep the tent from touching the wood burner. Oh, exactly. Don't touch the walls. Don't use in. Yeah, hot tent camping. That looks like that'd be fun. Call me a wuss, but I like my heat. Yeah, and Oxjaw, I remember that too. Came up in the old canvas tents. That always warned us: don't touch the walls. Yeah, if it's raining and you touch the walls, water will start coming in. The other big thing is inside them canvas tents is do not use bug spray. Yeah, pretty much backwoods. Exactly, Ox. Been there, done that. And worst part about it is I wasn't even the one to touch the inside. It's just it was my tent on my side. Guy decided to play a joke with me one night when it was raining. He woke up while I was sleeping. He like put like this on the tent and went back to bed on his side, and I got leaked on all night. Yeah, see, I've seen a few of those too prepping, and for that, just to see if I can make one. They have the me and Backwards are talking about the M12A ammo cans, which are about three times as night, Nina. It's about three times the size of your normal 50 cal ammo can. I mean, these guys are about like this wide, about that deep, and they're probably like that tall. I mean, they're huge. But that was it's about half the size of a normal wood burning stove. I'm like, that'd be cool. There you go. I like your rule there, Jay. I like your rule. Exactly, Kaylin. We've done the canvas tents in the winter too with the platforms. Um, we we left one side open, piled up snow up against the bottom of the skirt the whole way around it, except for the very front. And what we did from there on the front of it is when you tied it shut on the platform, we actually had a board on the bottom that when you did your bottom flap, like we had to tie like right at the floor, you actually tied right up against that board, so that kind of helped that draft right there too. Okay, this book here, once I get a little bit more into it, I'm probably going to start doing some videos on the chapters in it. I mean, there is a ton of good information in this thing, a ton. Like another book I've read just to kind of my outdoor skills. The book's a little basic, but I still think it's a good book for somebody who's interested in it but never did anything. Is David Canterbury's Bushcraft 101. That's a very good book for somebody who's just getting started or somebody needs to brush up on some stuff. The way it's written is very easy to follow. But I mean that's another book. No, have did not see any Sasquatch defense measures. No anti-Sasquatch tactics. Not even Sasquatch repellent. Sorry, man. Actually, you probably hear me, Keith. Give me one sec. Is that better? That's better. I have a spot in the middle of my glasses. Never thought of that backwards. That's a good idea. Oh, okay. Because I wasn't even paying attention. I had a TV going in the background. I usually when I'm like on a live stream, I have the TV going in the background just for background noise, and I never even thought about it tonight. Hey, what's up, 3D? Okay, I think we're going to go on to some magazines here. As soon as I get this figured out, all my glasses, what the hell is going on here? Nothing much 3D. Getting ready to go on to part two. I won't say part two, but the next part of I was trying to wipe my glasses off there. Why? What happened here, backwoods? No, this is the magazine I'm talking about. American Frontiersman. This is one of the magazines that I'll read, and it comes out once a year. As I just picked this one up, didn't even have a chance to go through it, but this goes hand in hand. Oh, you must have had a slight lag there. Mine will do that when I lag a little bit. I get a slight lag, will like pixelate and just go boom, catch right back up again. But this is one I read here. Then the other one is Backwoodsman. I'm sure most of you guys have seen the Backwoodsman magazine. It comes out every 2 months, and excellent magazine, and it runs the gamut of black powder, uh, different types of guns, um, different hiking techniques, haversacks, how to make stuff out of leather, a bunch of different things. Yeah, okay. Mom Slayer, you caught me. I shouldn't have been messing around with the nuclear material. I'm sorry. Pay no attention to the mushroom cloud back there. Nothing to see here. But there's like a lot of things I've seen in backwoodsman that I've tried. See, I want to check that one out. Mother Earth News to me, I've looked at it a couple times. Mother Earth News seems to be a little hippy dippy for me, but that's on the cover, and I just only leaf through it. So I may give that one a second chance. Um, there are a couple other ones I read, like Off Grid or whatever, and they're a little bit more a sensationalist type of magazine type of deal. Not that there's not good information there, but you have to learn how to disseminate that from when they're trying to be well sensational. But there's a couple things in here in the American Frontiersman. As I said, I just picked this up like two nights ago. Just a couple of things I want to check out, just because I think it might be neat, is 5 primitive survival weapons, and people have talked about this, that, and the other thing when it comes to survival weapons. But I wouldn't say like I would trust my life to it. I'd use it if I'd have to, but it's always kind of neat. It's a good skill to learn to know how to use these things though as well. Like I kind of looked over that one real quick, and it is kind of interesting. As soon as I find the article here, which I like, they have the sling, the spear, the atlatl, the club. Yeah, this is the club, the throwing stick, the stone sling. That's the one with the rope with the string that you kind of do one of these deals and you launch the rock. The spear and the atlatl. My whole thing is with those, it's a good skill to learn how to use them. It's a good idea to know how to use the primitive weapons. It, even if you have like a more modern thing. Oh, geez. Wow. I think I will, Kaylin. Yeah, but like I've already started messing around with one, a throwing stick, or they used to call it a hunting stick, which is basically you're chunking your club at something. That's basically what a throwing stick is, depending on how you make it. Like mine has what they call it. I call it like a weight forward. The handle's down here, but as it goes up, it gets wider, then it gets smaller again. So it has a lot more considerable mass up toward the end than where your hand's at. But I mean, it's a good skill to know. Plus, I guess the thing with me is I kind of like those old ways, experimenting and learning how to do those old ways because I just learning about it to me is neat. Like one of the next things I want to try to make, if I can find wood straight enough to make the darts, is I'd love to make an atlatl. And atlatl I think would be fun. That one's coming up. The sling's gonna be coming up too because I got everything. I got everything I need to make a sling. So that one's going to be coming up as well. Ah, okay. And the atlatl really, basically, what an atlatl is a spear thrower. It when you get to the basics of it, and with that is, it gives you a little bit of a mechanical advantage on a spear. That was the atlatl was actually the predecessor to the bow. Oh, exactly, Jay. Give me 1 second here, guys. That's better. But yeah, one thing about being a photographer is I got plenty of these alcohol wipes. Yeah, because when I thought took care of that spot, it turned into a major smudge. So we're gonna fix that right now. Yeah, I got to a point with that smudge, I just couldn't take it anymore. I had to do something about it. Much better. Now talking about a little bit more modern weapons, something that I found wasn't even looking for it. I found it, and after Christmas, I may just go ahead and save up the money and get it. I found an AR-7. one of Henry survival rifles. Um, it's about a 10 shot 22 semi auto. It's one of those ones where you can take the barrel off and you can take the breech and everything off, jam it in the butt. The butt's waterproof and floats, does all that stuff. Not a spare gun, a survival gun. And the reason I kind of want that is it breaks down. I could fit it in my backpack. I don't have to carry it, but I could fit it in my backpack. And this is but I'm definitely looking into getting that. And if I get the one thing I like about the thing already though is because I was looking at it, the sight it doesn't have like the regular iron sights with the V in the back. It's actually a peep sight deal, and the front sight is like blaze orange, so it pops right out at you through the peep. So that's cool. Now, see, that's funny. So my get home bag stays in my Jeep. I don't have anything in it like that, and everything in my get home bag is expendable. So if I lose it, I'm not going to cry until I really need it, and I haven't had a chance to make another one yet. But it's safe where it's at. So yeah, 3D. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of practice. So don't sell yourself short. Just go out and practice when you can. You'll be surprised how fast you'll probably if you know what if you got the basics of it and you got somebody helping you, you'll be surprised how fast you'll pick it up. So yeah, see, I just feel the same way, Jay. What kind of Jeep you got, Jay? Yeah, yes, it will. See, yeah, that's a good idea, Jay. Skeet. I haven't. I've never tried skeet shooting. That's another thing I'd like to try. Oh, 2017 Grand Cherokee Trailhawk. That's awesome. I got a 2018 Renegade Sport. A bear banger. Never heard of that. But hope you found what I was talking about tonight somewhat informative anyway. So we've got about an extra 10 minutes here. So see, I was thinking about getting a Wrangler. My first idea was I was going to get a Wrangler with a 6 cylinder in it. Then I was looking at the gas mileage, and I drive 72 miles round trip to get back and forth to work. I just couldn't keep the thing fed. What are you talking about, Mom Slayer? I had a 2018 Jeep Renegade. Oh, ring neck. I seen the ring neck over on the Lawrence County Mercer County line at a place called Shoal Run Wetlands. It's a game lands right over by I don't know if you know where Springfield Falls is at. I mean the game lands is not that far from Springfield Falls. I mean you're within a mile of it. Yeah, 3DJ is right there. 25 feet. If you're shooting something with a shotgun at 25 feet, even if you're using like depend doesn't even really matter what kind of shot you're using. At 25 feet, the shot hasn't had a chance to spread, so it's almost like you're shooting at it with a slug. I mean, it's going to spread a little bit, but at 25 feet, it's not going to fan. It's only going to fan out to like maybe that, because it hasn't really had a chance to get out and start to get a good spread yet. And the thing about one thing you have to remember, Mumslayer, with the ringneck in Pennsylvania, any ringneck you see here in Pennsylvania is going to be a stalked bird. See, I've seen like two of them up there, and on my one route that I used to do, which is not part of it, was in Washington County before I came back up into exactly backwoods. But on the one route I used to go down to Washington County, come back up into Beaver County, down by Burgettstown. I went past her like two or three times and we were stalking ringnecks. There's ringnecks running around all over the place. It was kind of funny. Poor birds ain't never been off the farm. And next thing you know, they're like kick them out of the truck and chase them away. No, I haven't done a talk on that, and that would be something I'd have to research because everything that we use with gasoline here, usually we don't even really preserve it because we pretty much use it up. But the best thing I could tell you to do, depending on how long you're going to keep it, like for us, if anything sits with fuel, we put some over the winter. We put stable in it, and that seems to work pretty good. Exactly, backwoods. Diesel is a lot easier to keep long term. Um, Gas, um, you can only use stable in it so much before it's going to start to. Okay, exactly backwards. That's what I was saying because we use stable, but that'd be for anything that we have sitting over the winter. So that's like a 4 month period. It's not like for years on end. And usually after about 3 or 4 months, the fuel's still good. See, I used to deliver down in Westmoreland County too. The one place I still want to go, I want to go to Brushy Run Park. Okay, yeah, gas for the chainsaw. The wood splitter will probably be straight gas. The gas for a chainsaw is probably going to be a 2 cycle mix. And a whole 2 cycle mix, there's a whole other new variable into the mix, into stuff there. I think so. I actually used to deliver down in Brushy Run. I used to deliver to oh, what the heck? Brushy Run Pharmacy is where I used to deliver at down there, and it wasn't too far from there. Um, oh, what's the name of that town down there? Jeanette. Just I used to deliver just outside Jeanette. That's where I used to. Brushy Run is a park here where there's a Revolutionary War battle that was fought there. So, which is kind of funny is talking about premix for lawnmowers, not lawnmowers, but chainsaws. The thing that's why I'm going to get an electric chainsaw. I cannot stand two cycle. I just don't deal with two cycle. Oh, cool. Well, you're a lot closer than I thought then. But yeah, I delivered down in Westmoreland County, delivered down in Washington County, places in Beaver County. Right now, I'm out in Allegheny County. And then the last 2 weeks before this, I was actually delivering out to Cambria County. What? Which two, Caitlin? Me and Mum Slayer or me and Keith? Oh yeah. Well, the Westmoreland run wasn't too bad because I'd actually start at the Irwin interchange and go like right there. It only took me about just a little over an hour to get there. Then once I started to run, it only took me about 5 6 hours to do the run. Then I jumped back on. Well, there's a couple of them here that aren't. I'm in PA, Keith. So is Mum Slayer and Backwoods is too. But that's one advantage I have with my job is I can always find a cool place to go. Ah, well, here's a silly question, Jay. By how far did you miss by? If you missed by a mile, then yeah, I'd be trying to work it out. But if you only missed by a little bit, it just I mean, I'm not making fun of anybody. It could have been something you did, or just something just. Hmm, gotcha. Okay, but we're nearing the top of the hour here, so going to go through the promos here. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Central Louisiana time, is going to be Miss Nina's chat on her channel, Southern Arc Homestead, and then about 8:30 Central Louisiana time, 9:30 Central is going to be the Honey Badger chat on Prepper X. Thursday night at 6 o'clock Eastern. No, sorry, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Louisiana time is Nina's son Spicy. He does an awesome chat. It's somewhat like mine is he kind of has a subject, but he'll go off and it kind of goes where it kind of meanders around and goes where it goes, but it's a good time. And then 8 o'clock Eastern Friday night is going to be the panel chat at Prepper X. I usually do the after show. Let's visit with you too, moms. Um, Saturday is usually nothing going on. Sunday, with the way things are going over in Europe, um, I'm thinking keep your eyes open. Prepper X will probably have another sit rep on Sunday. I'm thinking, depending on how everything goes over in Europe. Any major anything major happens, then Monday night is going to be Backwoods Chat on Prepper X at 8 o'clock. But I thank you all for coming. I love you all. Have a great night.